On a quiet morning, a farmer moves through his daily routine, his hands rough from years of hard work, his clothes plain and unassuming. To most, he's just another man tied to the land, a figure in the background of life. But today, his journey takes him far from the fields he knows so well. The world feels different at an exclusive private airport, polished, pristine, and buzzing with quiet confidence. Here, fortunes are measured in private jets and luxury lifestyles, and appearances say everything. Then, the quiet is interrupted. A pair of heavy, deliberate footsteps echo through the grand entrance. Heads turn. A lone figure enters, a man in work boots, his clothes modest, his presence understated but impossible to ignore. Glances are exchanged, and smirks follow. One salesman steps forward, his smile polished but sharp, the kind that dismisses as much as it greets. "This might not be your kind of store," he says, his tone dripping with condescension. The farmer doesn't react, his face calm, his intent unshaken. The silence that follows feels charged and heavy with judgment. They've already decided who he is. They've already decided what he's worth. But as he takes another step forward, something shifts. The weight of his purpose fills the room. None of them realize that this man is about to shatter every assumption they've made, and the truth will leave them stunned. Before we get into this incredible story, let us know where you're watching from in the comments below. We love hearing from viewers around the world. If you're already intrigued by this tale of resilience and redemption, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you never miss more inspiring stories like this. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell to be the first to know when we upload. Vincent Gatewood starts his days early, long before the sun has fully claimed the sky. His life unfolds in the quiet rhythm of the fields, where the soil tells its own stories. To the outside world, he's just a farmer, a man of modest means whose life appears as straightforward as the land he tills. But those who know him, truly know him, understand there's more to Vincent than meets the eye. Born and raised on this very land, Vincent's connection to it runs deep. His father taught him how to work the fields. His mother instilled in him a sense of discipline and purpose. For Vincent, hard work wasn't a choice. It was the only way forward. He grew up understanding that nothing was given, and that every achievement had to be earned with sweat and determination. But Vincent's story doesn't stop at the fields. Over the years, he turned his small, struggling family farm into a thriving agricultural empire. Quietly and without fanfare, he embraced innovation, implementing sustainable farming techniques long before they became buzzwords. He studied markets, found gaps, and built partnerships that allowed him to export his products far beyond the local community. He learned to navigate a world far removed from his humble beginnings, and while his boots still carried the dust of the fields, his mind was always 10 steps ahead. Yet Vincent's success isn't something he flaunts. To his neighbors, he's the same man they've always known, the one who fixes fences, waves hello, and shares a kind word at the corner store. He's a pillar of the community, but one who prefers to let his actions speak for themselves. On this particular day, as Vincent prepares to leave his farm for the airport, there's no sign of extravagance in his appearance. He doesn't wear a suit or drive a flashy car. He carries himself with quiet confidence, not because he feels the need to prove anything, but because he knows the value of who he is and what he's built. Miles away, in a world that couldn't feel more different, Aidan Finn stands at the center of an upscale airport showroom. Aidan, sharp-suited and sharply spoken, thrives in an environment built on appearances. Born into privilege, he grew up surrounded by wealth, learning from an early age that success is often measured by what others see. Now a top salesman at one of the country's most exclusive private jet dealerships, Aidan knows how to read a room and how to assess a potential buyer in mere seconds. To him, appearances are everything, and first impressions often dictate how he treats those who walk through the door. Today, Aiden is expecting another day of the same. Wealthy clients, high-stakes negotiations, and sales that reflect his polished persona. He doesn't know yet that someone is about to walk through those doors who will challenge everything he assumes about wealth, status, and power. Vincent Gatewood and Aiden Finn stand on opposite sides of a vast divide. One is shaped by years of struggle and quiet perseverance. The other is molded by a world of privilege and instant gratification. When their worlds collide, it will be a moment neither man will ever forget. And as Vincent steps into that showroom, dressed in work boots and carrying a quiet but unshakable confidence, the stage is set for a meeting that will test their assumptions, their values, and their understanding of success. The doors to the exclusive jet dealership open with a soft hiss, but the man who steps inside hardly matches the expectations of those within. Vincent Gatewood moves slowly, deliberately, his boots making faint echoes on the gleaming floors. He pauses, his gaze moving across the polished displays of luxury jets visible through the wide windows. The room is quiet for a moment, but not for long. Aiden Finn, standing by the showroom desk, is the first to notice him. His eyes flick over Vincent, and a faint smirk tugs at the corner of his mouth. Behind him, a couple of sales staff exchange glances, their barely restrained amusement clear. The laughter is soft, almost imperceptible, but Vincent hears it. He doesn't react. His face remains calm, unreadable. He steps forward, his posture straight and steady, and approaches the counter. Aiden meets him there, the polished salesman slipping effortlessly into his usual routine, though there's an unmistakable edge of condescension in his tone. "Good afternoon," Aiden says, the kind of practiced greeting that doesn't quite feel sincere. His smile is tight, more for show than for warmth. "Looking for something specific?" Vincent nods, his voice low but firm. "I'd like to know more about the Gulfstream on display outside." Aiden blinks, momentarily caught off guard. He recovers quickly, though, his expression shifting back to amusement. "The Gulfstream?" Aiden repeats, his tone slightly exaggerated. He leans in just slightly, lowering his voice as though sharing a joke. "We don't do crop dusters here. Maybe you're lost?" The laughter from the other staff grows a little louder now, and Vincent stands still, his expression steady. His eyes meet Aiden's for a brief moment, and there's something in his gaze that seems to unsettle the salesman, though Aiden doesn't let it show. Still, Vincent doesn't waver. "I'm not lost," he says calmly. "I'd like to see the specs." Aiden shrugs as if indulging a harmless request, and grabs a brochure from the counter. "Here you go," he says, handing it over without much thought. "Though, just so you know, that model starts at about 65 million. We might have something a bit more reasonable for you." Vincent accepts the brochure without a word. He steps aside and flips through the glossy pages, his focus unwavering. But Aiden isn't done. He leans casually against the counter, glancing over at another salesman and exchanging a knowing look. His voice, though still low, carries across the room. "This guy's a little out of his depth, don't you think?" The words are meant to be a whisper, but they land hard. Other customers glance in Vincent's direction, some with curiosity, others with barely concealed amusement. Still, Vincent doesn't react. He studies the brochure, occasionally pausing to ask questions about range, fuel efficiency, and engine performance. Each question is precise and deliberate, and with each one, Aiden's amusement begins to waver, if only slightly. "You're pretty interested in the technical details," Aiden says, his tone still carrying a hint of mockery. "But let me just be honest with you. This kind of plane is a little exclusive. We're talking about clients who, well, don't have to ask about price." For a brief moment, Vincent looks up, meeting Aiden's gaze directly. "I didn't ask about the price," he says simply, before returning to the brochure. The room grows quieter now. Aiden's smile falters, though he quickly regains his composure. "All right, then," he says, with a forced laugh. Maybe we should take a look at some of our smaller models first. You know, just to get a feel for what we offer." But Vincent doesn't follow him. Instead, he closes the brochure, carefully placing it back on the counter. His next words are calm but firm. "I'm here to see the Gulfstream." And for the first time, Aidan doesn't have an immediate response. The confidence he carried just moments ago seems to slip, replaced by something else. Around the room, the air feels different. Their eyes are still on Vincent, but the laughter has stopped. And though no one speaks, there's an unspoken question lingering in the silence. Who is this man? Vincent doesn't answer it, not yet. But as he stands there, unmoved by the judgments and assumptions around him, it's clear that this is only the beginning. As the story unfolds, we want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever been underestimated or judged unfairly? Share your experiences in the comments below. And if you're finding this story as inspiring as we do, take a moment to like this video. It helps us reach more people with stories that truly matter. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell to stay updated on all our future uploads. As the quiet tension lingers in the room, Vincent Gatewood remains steady. The judgmental stares, the dismissive remarks, they roll off him as if they were never spoken. Slowly, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a simple, understated leather card holder. He places a card on the counter in front of Aidan Finn. It's a small gesture, almost too subtle to notice. But the moment the card lands, everything begins to shift. The card bears the logo of Gatewood Agricorp, a name that carries weight in certain circles. Underneath it, in clean, professional print, are the words, Founder and CEO. Aidan glances at the card, the smirk on his face fading as the meaning registers. For a moment, he says nothing, his mind racing to piece together what he's just seen. But Vincent doesn't give him time to recover. "I have a few questions about the Gulfstream's fuel efficiency," Vincent says calmly, his tone unwavering. He slides the brochure back toward Aidan, pointing to a specific specification. "This range, what's the actual performance under maximum payload conditions? I need precision for international trips." Aidan stares at him, the card still in his hand, his composure visibly slipping. Well, I'd have to check the specifics on that," he stammers. But Vincent isn't done. "And the maintenance schedule, how frequently are the engine inspections required? I assume the manufacturer has a premium service package for long-term owners?" By now, Aidan looks visibly uncomfortable. The questions are not those of a casual window shopper. These are the questions of someone who knows exactly what he's looking for. From across the room, one of the other sales staff, a younger associate named Laura, steps closer. She glances at the card in Aidan's hand, her eyes widening slightly. Without hesitation, she turns and heads toward an office at the back of the showroom. Moments later, the door opens, and James Taylor steps out. Taylor, the dealership manager, exudes authority and precision. His tailored suit fits perfectly, his silver hair is neatly combed, and his sharp gaze sweeps the room as if he can sense something important is happening. "What's going on here?" Taylor asks, his voice calm but commanding. Laura quickly hands him the card, whispering something in his ear. His expression shifts slightly. Curiosity gives way to recognition. He looks from the card to Vincent, and his demeanor changes entirely. Taylor strides over to the counter, his tone professional, but now tinged with respect. "Mr. Gatewood," he says, extending a hand. "James Taylor, General Manager. I apologize if there's been any misunderstanding. Welcome to our dealership." Aidan's face pales as Taylor shakes Vincent's hand with genuine warmth. "No misunderstanding," Vincent replies evenly, returning the handshake. "I'm just here to evaluate my options." Taylor nods, then glances sharply at Aidan. "Why don't you step aside, Finn?" he says, his voice cool but firm. "I'll take it from here." Aidan steps back, his earlier bravado completely gone, replaced by an awkward silence. Taylor, now fully engaged, gestures toward the Gulf Stream visible outside the window. "That's one of our finest models, Mr. Gatewood. I'd be happy to walk you through the details personally. It's an exceptional choice for someone in your position." As the two men walk toward the viewing area, a murmur spreads through the showroom. Staff members exchange looks, whispers passing quickly between them. One junior associate discreetly pulls out their phone, typing Vincent's name into a search engine. The results appear instantly. Articles about Gatewood Agricorp's rise to international prominence, profiles highlighting Vincent's innovative approach to sustainable farming, and even a feature in a major business magazine, calling him one of the most influential entrepreneurs in the agricultural sector. The realization spreads quickly. Vincent Gatewood isn't just another farmer. He's a man who commands respect, not because of how he looks, but because of what he's built. Aidan stands off to the side, still clutching the business card. His earlier arrogance is now replaced by visible unease. He glances at Taylor and Vincent as they discuss the jet, his expression a mix of regret and embarrassment. Meanwhile, Vincent remains composed, asking pointed, detailed questions about the jet's capabilities. Taylor responds with enthusiasm, eager to provide the answers. The balance of power in the room has shifted completely. The man they underestimated now stands at the center, and the truth of who he is has left everyone speechless. Inside the exclusive dealership, the air has shifted. The confidence Vincent Gatewood exudes now fills the room, and the judgments that once defined him are quickly unraveling. As Vincent and James Taylor tour the Gulf Stream, their conversation moves beyond specs and features. Taylor, sensing there's more to this man than even his business success suggests, asks a simple question. "Mr. Gatewood, if I may, what brought you here today?" Vincent pauses for a moment, his gaze lingering on the sleek lines of the jet before him. He speaks softly, but with purpose. "I came here," he says, "because this isn't just about buying a jet. It's about proving to myself and to others that where you come from doesn't define where you can go." Taylor listens intently as Vincent continues, his words carrying the weight of years of experience. "I grew up in a small town," Vincent says. "We didn't have much, not money, not connections, just land, and the hope that it would be enough. My parents worked harder than anyone I've ever known, but it always felt like we were one bad season away from losing everything." His voice remains steady, but the emotion behind it is unmistakable. "I've been told my whole life that people like me, farmers, kids from nowhere towns, don't belong in places like this. I've heard the laughter and seen the looks, and for a long time, I let it get to me. I thought maybe they were right." There's a brief pause, a moment where his words seem to hang in the air, heavy with truth. "But then I realized," Vincent continues, "that the only limits are the ones we let others put on us. So I worked, day and night, year after year. I learned everything I could about my industry. I made mistakes, plenty of them, but I didn't stop. And now that small farm is feeding people across the country, across the world." Taylor nods, visibly moved. Around the room, staff members who had previously dismissed Vincent now look on with quiet respect. "People like me aren't expected to make it," Vincent says, his voice firm. "But I've learned to turn doubt into fuel." Nearby, Aidan Finn listens, his earlier smugness completely gone. There's a flicker of regret in his eyes as he steps forward hesitantly. "Mr. Gatewood," Aidan says quietly, his tone uncharacteristically subdued, "I owe you an apology. I misjudged you. I shouldn't have." Vincent turns to face him, his expression calm but thoughtful. For a moment there's silence. Then Vincent nods. "I appreciate that," Vincent replies, "but it's not about me. It's about how we see each other. Respect shouldn't come from what someone looks like or where they're from. It should come from who they are and how they treat others." Aidan nods, his face flushed with genuine remorse. He doesn't try to defend himself or make excuses, he simply listens. Vincent turns back to Taylor, who clears his throat and smiles warmly. "Well," Taylor says, "it's clear that this jet is going to someone who's earned it in every possible way." As they continue the tour, Vincent's words seem to linger in the air, a quiet reminder to everyone in the room of the power of resilience, humility, and respect. For Aidan, the lesson is deeply personal. As Vincent prepares to finalize his purchase, he shares one final reflection. "The truth is," he says, "success isn't about the money or the things you own. It's about the lives you touch, the barriers you break, and the legacy you leave behind." And as the room falls silent once more, it's clear that Vincent Gatewood has left a mark far beyond the check he's about to write. The air inside the showroom is quiet now, heavy with a sense of awe and reflection. Vincent Gatewood stands with James Taylor by his side, discussing the final details of his purchase. There's no hesitation in his voice, no second guessing. "This model fits my needs perfectly," Vincent says, his tone steady and resolute. "Let's move forward with the purchase." Taylor nods, visibly impressed. "I'll have the paperwork drawn up right away, Mr. Gatewood," he says. Nearby, the staff watches in silence. The man they underestimated is now buying one of the most expensive jets in their inventory, a transaction they'll talk about for years to come. As Vincent signs the final documents, Aidan Finn lingers in the background. His earlier arrogance has dissolved completely, replaced by quiet humility. He approaches Vincent one last time. "I just want to say thank you," Aidan says, his voice low but sincere. "You've given me a lot to think about." Vincent meets his gaze, his expression calm but thoughtful. "It's not too late to change how you see people," he replies simply. With the deal complete, Vincent walks out of the showroom, his boots tapping against the pristine floor. The doors slide open, and he steps outside, where the Gulf Stream waits for him on the tarmac. The staff gathers by the window, watching as Vincent approaches the jet. His movements are unhurried and purposeful. When he climbs the steps and turns back for a brief moment, his gaze sweeps the scene, his quiet acknowledgement of a moment he's earned through years of determination. As the engines roar to life, the sleek jet begins to roll down the runway. Inside, Vincent settles into his seat, looking out the window as the ground falls away beneath him. Below, the fields stretch out in endless rows, a reminder of where he came from and the journey that brought him here. And then his jet disappears into the sky. Never judge a book by its cover. True success isn't loud, it's earned. And sometimes the quietest voices carry the greatest stories. Now that you've heard about Vincent Gatewood's incredible journey, we'd love to know your opinion. What part of his story resonated with you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. If this story inspired you, show your support by giving this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more compelling stories. Turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to hear about our next inspiring tale. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.